Oh, man.
The good guys do better deals, are right?
Jazz, how are you, man? Miz, what's going on? Oh, man. Aaron, how are you, man? That's awesome to hear, dude. It's been quite a long journey, and for you to be around this long is pretty impressive, man. I hope you're doing well. Miss, yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows what he got up to and what he did? You know, there's lots of variables. You know, when we talk about steroid abuse and whatnot, obviously, when people die in their 30s and they supposedly are about fitness and health and all the rest of it, that's a big eye raiser. But the man died, you know, when he was 71, so that abuse probably wasn't like what we're seeing today, you know. For somebody that kept fit most of his life, you know, is it a surprise he died at 71? Like, who knows what he did? I don't know. Like, 71, it's not old, but it's not young either. Hey, Chris, how are you, man? What's going on, brother? 3 plates already, right? Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, if I end up doing the AMRAPs, I'll definitely stream them, I think. But I'm not sure if I'll be doing them now. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I've done some more thinking about the whole thing, and the MRAP period might not be the best move because I trained so hard during that period, and I didn't even end up in a PR. Whereas I've done other things last year, November, December, October, where, you know, I did a whole bunch of belt squats, hack squats, leg press, and I got a PR. So it might not be the best way for me to go and do AMRAPs. Those are kind of the latest thoughts about it. So I think I've got a month to kind of work it out, but like as it stands now, I'll be doing a whole stack of belt squatting, maybe twice a week, most likely once a week, and see how it all goes. You know, you gotta follow what's worked most. The AMRAP period was great in terms of like, you know, squatting and you know, squatting a lot of reps, but it didn't translate into a heavier weight. So Yeah, I mean, 4 plates, you can condition yourself to do anything, right? Like the 4 plates, it's a lot of hard work, but like, you know, it's very, very good after a little bit. Like, you know, you start off with a set of 5 and then next session set of 6 and then 7, and you kind of creep up to it and you just aim to get another rep, which is all well and good, but it's so much expenditure of energy. And if it doesn't make sense in terms of translation to a 1 rep max, then like, why are we doing that? I mean, that whole period was great, but I just wonder what those AMRAPs periods, that AMRAP period did for me. Maybe it did more for my posterior chain than it did for my anterior chain, which is the weakest thing. And then when you start to go heavier in weight, the weakest thing kind of catches up to you, and then you fail because the weakest thing is, it's like, maybe the best approach is to do some accessory work directly for the weakness and not worry about anything else, you know. That's when you have a glaring weakness, you know, when you have something that is not, you know, where you want it to be. All right. All right, quick squat. And now we'll get into the meat and potatoes of what we're trying to do today. Alrighty, now that little warm-up's done. Now let's do the main part of the session. Alrighty. Where are we? Thanks, Tontron. Ben, what's happening, man? You get a hamstring pump from the bent over row machine, the incline machine? That's interesting. What do I think about the SSB? I love it, man. I think it's a great one. Absolutely great. I love it. Pozdrav iz Slovenije. Pozdrav. Sve najbolje. Oh yeah, the Hatfield squat is great. Very, very good. I messed around with that a little bit as well. Very cool. Like you can really load it eccentrically. I've done 260 on the Hatfield squat for a set of 5. Isn't that interesting, huh? 260 for a set of 5. Oh Lord. It's a lot of weight. Thank you, Nukes. Appreciate it, man. Oh yeah, low to high, absolutely. You can definitely move a lot. And the best thing about it is you can really overload the eccentric, right? That's, I feel like, the special part of the Hatfield. I mean, that was the focus of mine. You know, I tried to really slow down the eccentric, and then obviously on the way up you can, you know, get a lot of help. But it's awesome. It really is. Very taxing though. Yeah, Ben, quad tendinopathy. How would you work through that? Little tidbit, I remember your early vids where you said all you would ever need is a bar and squat rack. Yeah, it's exploded now, isn't it? I've got I'm in a gym in here now. I certainly thought that that's all you needed, and I really hoped that was going to be true. But as it turns out, I'm not a natural squatter. A lot of imbalances kind of popped up as a result of me squatting all the time. And so then I kind of went off into the wilderness of training world and try to explore all this stuff to work out what exactly I needed. And it turns out, all of this squatting made me really strong in the posterior chain, right? So the deadlift flew up. The more I squatted, the more the deadlift went up. But the squat wasn't following. So I kind of had to work out what was going on there. And I eventually did. And now I do a lot of accessories, and you can see a lot of hip machines here as well. You can basically see what I prioritize purely by looking at the bloody gym, right? A lot of back work, a lot of glute, back work, the GHD. You can see where I've headed in my fitness journey. You live and learn, dude. I wish I could be that guy that's really good at squatting and all I could do is just squat and everything will be fine, but I'm not a squatty type. I'm a deadlift guy. And so when I do a lot of deadlifting, the deadlift improves. When I do a lot of squatting, the deadlift improves. It's interesting. We all have our own little unique kind of journey through all of this. Where are we? Nuke, I don't quite understand. What era of humanity would you travel to if you had the opportunity? Oh man, not really. I haven't thought about that much at all. I don't know. One thing's for sure, life is the easiest today than it is ever in our lives. So if I was to say medieval era, I wouldn't live very long. I wouldn't live very long at all. So probably today is the best time to live. Have I done lunges in a while? It means I haven't done anything lower body in a while, other than the squats and the high rep squats that I did a little while back. Haven't really done any meaningful, purposeful squatting to improve. But now that's all changing. The bench now is going to chill for a bit. I'll just hit a couple of singles and maintain the arm wrestling movements. Bench singles, try and peak that a little bit. And now I'm going to start to accumulate the deadlift and the squat accessory volume, the rows, the belt squats, all that kind of stuff. That's going to come into the mix. So that's going to become a real focus of mine now, which is the much more fun type. But I'm not there yet to push the squat in itself. Just accessories. It's winter still, and it's very dangerous to push the main movements now. If I was to do the MRAP period right now, it wouldn't be very good, man. It would be too taxing, and I'd probably get in trouble with my, immune system and stuff. Max says, what's up, man? What's going on, dude? Ever experienced trapezius pain from too much posterior work? No. Pain or soreness? Which one do you mean? Am I doing incline bench? I did mess around with incline a little bit. Maybe like 3 weeks ago or something, I did a bit of incline. But I felt like the incline did a lot of, it fatigued me with no benefit. That's kind of my early assessment of it. I don't think the incline does anything for the flat bench, as weird as that sounds. Yeah, I really feel like there's no carryover there, which is interesting. Very interesting. The flat bench is a very unique movement. It's really strange, right? Like, I struggled off the chest, right? So you think triceps. No, no, no. The best my bench has ever felt was when I did a lot of squatting, like high volume, like basically back work with the SSB. So when my back and my quads are kind of like pumped up, bench it feels really good. So the key to my bench, where I'm at right now, is just more upper back. More of this type of stuff, what I'm doing. More upper back and more, you know, more stability in that scapula. That's what I need. When I pile on 3 plates and I get down, I feel that the back gives out. I know that's a weird thing to say, and that didn't make sense to me for a long, long time, but the back is so important, man. So freaking important. Especially if it's coming off of the chest and you're struggling. You don't have enough thickness in your upper back. Which is a common thread in all of this, right? You want a deadlift, you need a thick back. You want a squat, you need a thick back. You want a bench, you need a thick back. You want an overhead press, you need a thick back. It's all back, 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 back. And not any back. I've made, a bunch of videos about this. I don't think pull-ups do anything for this. I don't think pull-ups do anything for your bench. I don't think pull-ups do anything for your deadlift. I don't think pull-ups do anything for your deadlift, bench, or squat. This, rowing, barbell rowing, amazing. This, less amazing, but still amazing. This is where it's at. It's that scapular retraction. It's that rear delt. It's that chest extension, thoracic extension. This is where it's at. When I made those couple of videos about pull-ups not being as good, obviously a lot of people are like, oh, outrageous. And I remember being in that camp as well myself, thinking that, pull-ups, they pump your lats up, blah, 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 blah. It's not just about pumping your lats up or whatever else you want to call it. It's how you pump those lats up. With the pull-up, there's less emphasis in shoulder depression. And there's more emphasis in like getting to the bar. So the shoulder gets up like this. You finish your pull-up like this, right? With rows, you don't finish like this. You don't finish like this. With a row, you finish like this, low. Or even if you're doing it high, you kind of finish in a nice position, short position. And when it comes to strength, getting tight is freaking everything. On the bench press, you're trying to get tight. You're not trying to get long on the bench press. Deadlift, same thing. Packing your shoulders into the back pockets, right? Getting tight. In the squat, it's maintaining that tightness in the upper back. What do pull-ups do? Pull-ups are promoting this like really long position. Great for bodybuilding, great. But then at the peak contraction, there's this instability. Like you can finish your pull-up and you could, not finish it where you are tight. You can finish it up here. Even if you're doing a freaking thing over the bar, right? Like the muscle up. This is what's happening. And so it's like this unpacked position, which once again, if your bodybuilding is your thing, do that. But if strength is your thing, it's about tightness. And you don't want to just do any old work just to get the muscle pumped. You want to do work that's going to carry over to that sensation of you getting tight. That's why not all core exercises are created equal as well. Some exercises are, you're not tight, you're not resisting a force that you would see in some of these big three lifts, right? If you think about, you getting punched by Mike Tyson in the guts, right? Like that's a famous one. You don't do some of the things that people do in core exercises. You know what I mean? But if I was to give you a pair of really, really heavy dumbbells, and I said to you, go farm carry that shit across the yard, and you're carrying that shit, and I come up and hit you, that is that posture that we need, right? Oh, but farmer's carries is not core. Really? A loaded carry is not core, but a sit-up is. Or a hanging leg raise is. Interesting perspective. So you think it is more beneficial to hang off a bar, do core, than it is to be axially loaded and clenching that core. All the movements that we do in these movements, we are loaded. Our body is loaded. We're not hanging. And so anytime you're hanging, I just feel like you're not really mimicking what you need to mimic. So this is why I still stand by it, man. Like, if you want to see the best core exercises ever, in my opinion, that I've ever tried, is do like super, super high pin squats. Super, super high pin squats, right? So like set up the safeties that are like basically at this level here. And so when you get underneath it, you're squatting the bar this much. Dude, I've loaded up to 300 fucking kilos, man. Load up the bar at 300 kilos. So like at the time, my max was like 210 or whatever it was. I could move 300 kilos. Just standing there with the fucking bar on my back. I cannot explain to you the amount of tension I had to create in my body to have 300 kilos on my back, moving it just fucking an inch. I can't explain to you. Like I woke up the next day and I felt like somebody, like I wrestled Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov I wrestled. I wrestled a fucking bear, a 300 kilo bear I wrestled. That's what it felt like. And now imagine this. Imagine if I took that fucking weight somehow, I mean, I can't do it here, and I took like 10 steps with 300 fucking kilos, man. I am sorry, dude, but there is no one that can explain to me that is not more beneficial for core than a Russian fucking twist. It's just completely different. And so when you see somebody that has done ab training for years and they're like really, who's done like Russian twists and hanging leg raises and they're like all these obliques popping out and all this shit. And they've done all of that stuff by hanging on a bar and just waving their legs around and whatever. Don't get me wrong, they're very, very specifically strong for that. But if you were to put some serious sweat on their back, they would crumble. Because some of these structures, it's specificity. I always come back to specificity. You can't mimic having 300 kilos on your back, dude. It's fucking impossible. So that shit, always come back to the specificity. If you're dancing like a ballerina, dancing around and you're holding your leg up this way and that way and whatever, like you're doing martial arts and your legs are splaying everywhere, like you got such great control of your legs, that is different to having weight on your fucking spine and you walking with that shit. It's just different. It's how you breathe under heavy load. It's how you Valsalva maneuver that shit. A lot of these things that I'm talking about, you're not really going, you're not doing that, right? You know what I mean? And so when people say, get ready to hit by Mike Tyson in the guts, what we're trying to tell you is fill the gut with air. You don't do that shit when you're doing hanging leg raises. You're not filling the gut up like someone's going to hit you. You're just trying to move the limbs. And that is different. And this is where people get caught out with some of this stuff. You know, weight is the most important thing in all of this. Of course, you can have periods where you train other qualities and whatever. But the ultimate is the core. Now, obviously, you can't do 300 kilo pin squats every single day. That is very, very heavy and very, very taxing. But that is the true specificity of what we're trying to do. And then trying to mimic that to even deeper levels, deeper ranges of motion. That is what carries over. And so people are like, what do you do for your core? I squat every day, dude. How's that core? Dude, I put 180 kilos in my back and I put my ass on the ground and get up with it. That's not core? So you think your sit-ups is more valuable than 180 kilo squat? Interesting. Interesting perspective. What about getting over walls? Yeah, pull-ups are specific to getting over walls, but that is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to move the barbell in every which way. If your sport is about, getting overhead and climbing up a building or whatever, sure, pull-ups make sense, obviously. I'm talking about like being strong, moving weight. Climbing up a tree is not moving weight. That is a different sport altogether. People confuse abs with core, I reckon. Abs are part of the core, but core includes way more muscles, absolutely. Yeah, core involves something that people don't even know what it looks like. The transverse abdominis. You're not gonna see that shit on a fucking bodybuilding stage. You're not gonna see the psoas, the iliacus on a bodybuilding stage. It's just different, dude. There's different levels to it. And like I always say to everyone, man, like everyone just, especially the people that pop in and out, they're like, oh my God, you've been training for a decade and you don't even look like you lift. I'm not training to look like I lift. I'm training to lift. Couldn't give a shit about what you reckon, about the looks. I'm not a supermodel. If you want to look good, then you got to go down the corridor a little bit more. That's the key to all of this. Strength is what I'm after. Strength, performance. And so a lot of the things that I do are always revolving around how do I improve my performance. And core training is this idea that people think you could aesthetically assess somebody's core. No, man. No, absolutely not. It's not like that. Take a yoke. I wish I had a space for a yoke, dude. I've been talking about it for a little while. I wish I fucking had space for a yoke, man. I would love it. Maybe I should even fucking get it put in the backyard and just do it anyway. I'd love to. But like walking a yoke, man. If you can't find a yoke, like pick up your friend. Like army carry, soldier carry. Walk your mate 100 meters, see what happens, see what gives out. You won't be able to breathe after a little while. The breathing muscles get sore. Greg, what's going on, man? Ivan is spot on. I used to do super maximal weight stands with more than my squat max and my reps with just how many deep breaths I could take with the weight on my back. Do you know about the Bioneer YouTube channel? It's about functional training. This functional training term, I think people have just like, I think people are losing touch what functional training is. Functional training is like that, some of these people like take a dumbbell into their hands like this, and they're like, I'm a boxer. This is gonna make me into a better boxer. Oh Lord, that's not what this means. The best way to think about functional training is thinking about strongman. Think about those guys. Like that's where the first thought should be. Here is a man that's picking up a heavy ass keg and he's moving it across the yard. That is what I think about. Just picking shit up and moving it. Awkward things. Like loaded carries, or like that kind of stuff. That is functional, But there's this whole crowd with the functional people. I saw one guy, man, he was like basically saying squats are bad. And he's a functional guy. No, don't do squats. Do like these fucking dances or some shit. So these are the people that ruin the functional movement. What the hell are you doing, dude? Anybody that says to me that a deadlift and a squat is not the pillars of human movement, my friend, you need to go back to like reception and start your education again. If you think squatting is not a key piece of human movement, I don't know what the hell you're smoking on, dude. Picking shit up off the floor, if that is not a functional movement, and you're talking to me about like fucking balancing on the Bosu ball, picking up a pencil off the ground, that's functional. The hell is that, dude? You know, in like if you were to make a pyramid, if you have to make like the basis of all training, a squat and a hinge are the key functions of the human body. That is like, watch a child. If you've never seen a child in your life and you haven't had kids, like, and you haven't lived with them, dude, like, to crawl, to squat, to lunge, to, you know, twist, to push and pull, that's what functional is. It's not about doing some weird shit where you're like dancing around, waving your hands around. Like, I don't know, man. People have bastardized this whole idea. And so I don't really like to use the term functional. It just brings up all of that PTSD that I've gotten from all these other dudes. I think that's 4. I always bloody forget. Calisthenics and flexibility won't be very functional when you're trying to move a 100 kilo box. Yeah, I mean, my biggest criticism for calisthenics, and when I see some of these guys that are like spinning around a barbell, a bar, doing one-handed pull-ups, doing muscle-ups, flicking around like ballerinas on the bar and all this sort of stuff. All I ever think to myself is like, what about legs? A lot of these guys, you can see they're always wearing pants, you know, topless dudes wearing baggy pants. It tells you the whole story. That's right. The basis for human movement is your lower body, dude. Like, I can't, you know, reiterate this enough, man. Like, in order for you to squat and deadlift is literally the most useful shit you can do. Like, I get it. You can do all this fancy stuff. You can do pull-ups until the cows come home. But that isn't translating for you to, like, push a fucking car down the road or move the fridge or move the table, really ass-heavy table. Move some furniture around. Move that keg over here. You know, do, like, real shit. So my biggest criticism for calisthenics is that a lot of those guys don't train legs. And if you think about it, if they were to train legs, they would actually get worse at their sport. Because any weight that you add to your lower body makes the maneuvers which they do worse and worse, because there's more weight. So, you know, your body makeup, you see a lot of these guys, they have literally no legs. But that's kind of the biggest weakness for them. And so when you're thinking about all of this stuff, a lot of people are purely driven by you know, aesthetics, simple aesthetics. Everything's about aesthetics. I don't know, man. Aesthetics is just great but it needs to be a side effect of you being a useful human. That's what I always, think to myself. And like for me, if you have somebody that can deadlift a lot of weight, that can squat a lot of weight, that is a useful human being, man. That is a useful human being. Like I can use you in my life to like fucking move some shit around here, man. Like, you know what I mean? If we need to lift the gearbox out of my car, that's a strong human being. So I feel like they miss the leg training. The leg training is what they're missing. Their bicep strength, next level, beautiful. Lats, strong, all of that sort of stuff. But then like, they don't have anything down there, like glutes, adductors, quads, hamstring, the soleus, like all of that stuff. They're missing that. And so in my opinion, like that is somebody that you could just shuffle out of the way, right? There's just not, it's just a pretty boy. That's a pretty boy. It's like there's no base to that human being. Like you have no base. To me, like to this day, like if somebody was to say to me, out of all the things they've ever done, which people are most impressive? It's always the strongmen. The strongmen are the most impressive people. Olympic weightlifting is excellent as well in my mind because they're combining multiple different facets of human movement. There's this mobility component which I absolutely find amazing. So you have somebody that is mobile, strong, powerful, and highly technical. So they're moving these incredibly heavy weights and they're able to get underneath it so quickly. So there's speed there, right? Speed and power and mobility. When you mix all that up together, it's like amazingness. It's kind of like ice cream, right? Like they put sugar in that fucking thing. They put fat in that thing. Sometimes they even put protein, right? There's protein in there. So there's like 3 ingredients come to one dish and it's cold and it's a great texture. And our brain lights up like a Christmas tree when that hits, our palate because it's everything you need in one hit and it's just amazing. That's what I feel like weightlifting is to a degree, although it's highly limited by the technicality of all of that. And so that's when I kind of peek over the fence and I'm like, oh, fuck. The strongman competitors are the shit, The only negative with that is that a lot of those guys get huge, obese, to improve their sport. So that's kind of the negative of that. But they are the most functional. Like, that is what function is, dude. Pick up a fucking rock and carry it. That is nothing more primitive and more useful than that. Nowadays, I'm just trying to carry all my groceries in the house in one trip from the car. Does that count as functional? That's it, man. What's more functional than a farmer's carry? A suitcase carry? Just everything's a carry, right? It's a beautiful thing, man. What's really interesting to me is how different genres of strength of these sports, how they go in and out of fashion, It's amazing how they go in and out of fashion. Like, I always think to myself, how come strongman is not more popular? Why is bodybuilding always popular? It's because the people that view this stuff, like the consumers, everyone's obsessed with aesthetics. It's like this vanity of the humans. Everyone's just so obsessed with looking good. And that's just the psyche of people. No one really is interested. Like, think about it. Like, when people buy a car, most people, when they buy a car, they don't like pop the bonnet and be like, okay, let me see how this thing's made. Oh, sweet, man. It's amazing. Entertainment system is great. There's leather. you know, everything looks nice and whatever. It's all about the cabin. That's what people mostly care about. Not about like all the real stuff. Like, can this car actually drive? You know, and how well is it going to drive? And how long is it going to last? I don't know. Like, everything's towards aesthetics. The world has become very superficial. You know, because you know, everyone's in offices. Everyone's, you know, working these comfortable jobs, perhaps. You don't need to be functional. You need to look good, so you get more clicks on Instagram. You know, interesting, isn't it? This sense is simply being capable of doing things like walking upstairs or carrying objects without much strain or effort on one's part. Yeah. Well, I think before we say functional training, we need to think about like what is function? What function does a human being in the physical form? What are we trying to achieve? I guess there could be an argument that it's, you know, a lot of things involved. People have lots of functions, but I still stand by the idea that, holy shit, man, like picking up a box off the ground, isn't that the biggest function? You know? Like in that sense, the deadlift is the most functional thing ever, man. All right. All right, now that I've finished pronated, neutral pulls now. Take a bit of weight off. What the hell is even functional? Functional for what? Well, that's what I mean, Kwan. I think there are some key functions that we all as humans, we need to, like, you know, we don't have to get too geeky about it, but to bend over, pick something off the ground is the key function. Like picking stuff off the ground, your kid, your groceries. We need to interact with the world we live in. And so there are functions that are more useful to us. Jumping over a fence, how many people jump over fences? How many people, you know, climb trees? Like things like that are less important and less frequent in our life. But things like, you know, picking something up off the ground, that's a squat and a deadlift. Depends on the technique that you do, like right there. You know, holding something in your hands, the biceps, carrying something in your hands, like a loaded carry or whichever loaded carry you want to talk about, right? That's a functional thing. That's what I think about when I think about all of this. It's not so much about, well, everything is a function. No, I think there are key things here. I've been getting obsessed with all forms of farmers' walks too, because I think that's the other human function, to be functional. Yeah, I love that. I love those, man. Farmers, suitcase carries, all that stuff is amazing. Your view on sprinting, anything inspired from it? Hip flexor training. That's what I learned from the sprinting world. And the other thing that I learned from the sprinting world after I suffered that quad strain all those years ago, some 7 years ago now probably, I really hurt my quad sprinting. It was bad, man. I couldn't squat for like 4 or 5 months. I really, really strained my left. I think it was a rectus femoris from sprinting uphill. We lived in an area where it was a bit hilly. So I did like, 2 or 3 times a week sprints of various intensities, and I used to warm up, and they used to kind of be the bulk of my training back then. Sprinting is max effort. Sprinting is very, very dangerous for people that are not practicing sprinting. You do not want to go from powerlifting into sprinting overnight. Sprinting is, like I said, 1 rep maxing. Lots of things can go wrong. If you're not used to that movement and you want to get into sprinting, you have to start slow, especially if you come from like the barbell gym world. You're going to have some horsepower there that is not used to the ranges of motion and the forces involved. Everything is 100%. It's an upper body movement, it's a lower body movement, it's a core movement, it's everything. So sprinting, I've always had huge respect for, but I stay clear from it, far, far from it. We had a sports day at the school months ago, and the kids done all the sports and whatever, and at the end of the day it was for parents to sprint like whatever 100 meters. And everyone's like, come on, Ivan, let's do it. I'm like, hell nah. Come on, you train all the time, you'll be really good. That's the problem. That's the problem. Me being a kid, I used to always be, really quick in sprinting. The Achilles would snap, both hamstrings would come off the bone, I would tear the quad, I would probably burst a freaking hernia. Things would just get destroyed. You do not do that, just like that. No. You need to have a specific training program from that, otherwise you will get injured. You will really, really get injured. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that off. It's a bit light. We'll put this back on. Killer physique is cool, but I get way more respect for heavy deadlift than I see people get respect from looking good at the gym. Yeah. The amount of people that have messaged me over the years, they're like, Ivan, you don't even look like you lift. I had some guy recently go, he's like, I can't even bench 2 plates, and I can't even deadlift 4 plates, and I look more muscular than you. I'm like, and he weighs something like, I don't know what he said, like 75, 80 kilos. And you can't bench 2 plates, and you can't deadlift 4 plates. And he's perplexed why he looks better than me. What I said to that fellow, obviously, there's no point getting into some of these discussions, but what I said to the guys, I can guarantee you, bro, there's no way in hell you have more muscle mass than me. It's just impossible. If you cannot outlift me in multitude of these tests, there's no way in hell you're going to be a bit more muscular than me. If we're both natural and all the rest of it. Just because somebody looks a certain way and I carry 20% body fat, that doesn't mean that you, who is a scrawny, skinny kid, showing all of the things that you have more muscle mass. If you're natural, it is impossible. How can you have such a developed chest, such a huge chest, and you can't even bench 2 plates? Something's amiss there. Something is really, really amiss. Maybe you've taken too much creatine and you're just full of water. Water isn't muscle, lean muscle. I don't know what the situation there is, but he was like, I look better than you. I look bigger than you, he said, not better. My friend, if I go on a diet and I get to 10% body fat, I guarantee you I'm more bigger than you. But this is what people don't understand. It's all about aesthetics. It's lighting, how you look. If you can't bench 2 plates and I'm benching 3.5 plates almost, damn near, 155 kilos, right? There's no way in hell that you have more pecs and shoulders and triceps and the rest of it. It just doesn't make sense. As a natural athlete, you need muscle to be strong. And if you don't, that's why, like, the people that are really good at giving advice, they say if you're a natural person, just try and get stronger, progress your lifts, the SARS will follow. The SARS will follow. You can't flex bone. But that's kind of the general thing. They look at somebody who's 8% body fat. Actually, I'll tell you a story. Like, I've met people at the gym who are like prepping for shows. Like, I've met these dudes and they're like 80 kilos. Absolutely like show ready. He looks bigger than me, but he weighs 20 kilos less. And he's nowhere near the strength level. So it makes you think like, holy shit. Like, I remember thinking to myself, like, what is your bone density? How the hell are you so light? And bone density is something that people never think about. Heavy lifting every single day, people think it's just about muscle. The bone density, I reckon a large part of my mass is bone density. To be able to squat every single day, like my bones are constantly loaded. Bodybuilders are not doing compound lifts for the most part. They're isolating, and so they're avoiding axial loading. So I'm looking at that guy, I'm like, I reckon my bones are stronger than yours. And we spoke about this. I was like, man, I would love to see your bone density, especially in that depleted state that he was in. Doing a 16-week, run to completely remove all fat, and I'm guessing a lot of other things along with it, to have that muscle pop. And I'm like, man, if I was to push him over, I'm like, you might break a hip. How can you be so light and look like that? Bizarre, really bizarre. It might be a hot take, but I think the reason bodybuilding gets all the glory is because the global society is rooted in lust and things pleasing to the eye. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Without a doubt, Greg. Pragmatic Doc, thank you, brother. Oh, it's always a pleasure. You're always uplifting towards me, man. So thank you for that. Haki says, is it functional to be able to sprint max speed or 90%? Some situations demand it, right? Or is it better to be good at medium, slow speeds? Oh, that is all dependent on the situation, right? I don't know. If you think about it evolutionarily speaking, endurance has always been the absolute special power of the human race. The ability to walk animals down. Think about it. All of these freaking deers, gazelles, whatever the hell do you want to call them, whatever the examples are, there's no way you can catch it. Absolutely no way. But you can walk it down. And, the humans, the hunters, they got really good at tracking certain hooves in the ground, so they could literally just walk down one specific animal. And then eventually it would just run out of endurance and it would just keel over and you would just slit its throat and eat it, basically. You'll never be able to be more powerful than a lion or a tiger or whatever. Our power is the endurance. The endurance is the key in all of this. Oof. When you take it this slow, man, it really is tough. Mikkel says, what's your opinion about drink from plastics bottle? Don't use the same one, rotate it all the time. I think it's far better than drinking out of a metal bottle. People have one drinking bottle for like a year because it's a fancy metal bottle. Dude, how do you clean that shit? How do you clean that? So I like to rotate the bottles all the time. All the time. Plastic is not good, obviously. But drinking bacteria every day that is harboring in some of those bottles that you can't even clean, small mouth, you know, wide base and the rest of it. I don't know. Drinking from glass is probably the best. What's your opinion about... Doc says, I think it depends on your goals, Aki. They suggest that two things that help us most as we age is strength and VO2 max. Yeah, that's right. VO2 max, things like repeat 400s are a good one. Spot on. Try running at 75% max, 400. Take 90 seconds and go for 8 to 12 reps. It's a pretty functional workout. Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, best thing ever. Matik, very, very pleased with this part of my life. Absolutely. Absolutely love it. I've got everything I need. I'll probably add some more pieces as we continue going on. You know, there's going to be opportunities, I'm sure, popping up that I'll be able to pick up pieces here and there. A lot of this stuff was bargain hunting. You know, I've seen these machines for like 4 or 5 grand. And I bought this one was $400, I think. Second hand, you know. But good enough for me. It does the job. I'm very happy with it. Ooh, running out of steam now. That's 4. I'll do one more and then I'll strip the weight. Just some more. Marathon world record owner Eliud Kipchoge's average speed is crazy. Oh no, man. Kipchoge's stuff is next level. That is not attainable. No amount of training will get you there, dude. That is a genetic marvel. That brother, he metabolizes oxygen and energy differently. That is a genetic marvel, that bloke. You can't really compare him to anyone. Whew. It's amazing going from this grip to this grip. After a few sets of this, you start to feel the lats. So the closer you are to your sides, the more lats it is. Clear as day, man. It's not even close. Going really, really close to your chest, close to your sides, that's all lats. Whew. I'll get another one here, then we'll strip the weight and burn it out. Whew. Bloody exhausted, mate. Bloody exhausted. Oh, goodness me. That is rough. Oh. Nikhil's spot on. If you prioritize your life accordingly, you can have all of this and more. You know, my savings, the money for me goes in here. The YouTube proceeds that I get go here. Takes a little while for me to gather some money around. It goes in here. That's just my little hobby. Like this YouTube stuff doesn't pay for the house or whatever. No, I fit it back in. It's like a reward for what I'm doing, you know? And so it really is a side quest for me. This is just amazing. The main quest obviously is my career and my family. But all of this just keeps feeding. And so eventually in like 6 months time, I might get enough money to get a leg press machine. I'll just keep adding to it, you know? Slowly, slowly. You know, I'm not one of those people that has the income to go bang, let's fucking buy a world-class gym. I don't have that. But, you know, slowly you go. And it's kind of nice to go slowly as well. You know, the gym develops as you develop. What brand is that bike? I don't really know, dude. What brand is that bike? It's that old, I wouldn't have a clue, man. I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you. Thoughts on Melbourne? I like Melbourne. Been there a whole stack of times. It's nice. Reminds me of Europe. It's a Europe feel. Do you take rest days when you got a cold? Me and the family are down with something at the minute, and I think I should still get something done. Maybe just a light session. Yeah, pragmatic duck, dude. I do that all the time. You know, recently I was sick, and you saw me probably. I just get in the hip machine, do very light mobility work, PNF stretching. I think there's a lot of value in that without any stress on the body. It's just movement, mobility. Then I go do some squats, auto regulate that, do singles, and then I came back and I did some other hip machine stuff, like very, very light stuff. No CNS drainage, no nothing. It's just mobility. If anything, I mean, I know you're in the medical world as well. You know, if anything, it helps you move that lymph around. You know, the lymphatic system gets drained through movement, and so inactivity when you're sick, I don't think, theoretically speaking, you can't be good, dude. As you know, if you bed rest too long, you can get PEs and DVTs and all sorts. Chests get muggy. All people die when they're inactive after the NOF, after they've broken something. Just bed rest in general is bad. And so to do bed rest when you're not critically ill and you have an option, get up, do something. Shit, even if it's bicep curls, just something, man. I'm not asking you to like elevate your heart rate and you get the sweat going. Nah, just some movement. Some movement which is not going to be taxing, but still it is movement, and you're going to move that lymph around. And if you know about the lymph, it's a sewage system of the body, like it's moving the waste out. So even if it's just a little bit of like deep breathing, just a little bit, nothing excessive, helps move that residual volume out of the lungs. And so for me, like I've always thought, I can do something, man. That's the thing. And that's kind of been the last thought in my mind, like all these 5.5 years. It's like, I can do something, man. Like, okay, cool, I've got a 41-degree temperature. But I can walk out here, go towards the rack, put the bar on my back, go into a nice deep squat. There's some benefit in that. And, all the gym bros are going to come back and they're going to be like, oh, fuck, there's no value in that. Nah, dude, like you're saying it from like a gym point of view. But like I've got my nursing brain on and I'm like, nah, dude, like I've taken people out of bed, walked into the toilet and back, and that is the event of the day. That is the event of the day. That is huge plus. So if it's good enough for somebody that's severely ill to get up out of the toilet, go to the toilet and go back to bed with like a ×1 assist or a ×2 assist to the bathroom and back, that is good. Like the body's done something. And I have the same type of thinking when I'm sick. I'm like, fuck, I'll walk out here and do the empty barbell for a set of 5. It is for damn sure better than me sitting on that couch doing nothing. And I've got a lot of criticisms over that. Oh, Ivan, you're just fucking doing it for the streak or whatever. Whatever, dude. I don't need to sit here and like explain to you why I do these things. Or fucking you're doing it for the YouTube. Oh, Ivan, YouTube. Whatever, dude. Whatever, whatever makes you sleep at night, you go with that. Well, you go with that story, as much as you like. For me, I'm telling you honestly, that's how I've viewed it. And I'll always be like that. Whether this streak comes to an end for whatever reason or not, I've developed a habit here, and I really value movement, human movement, mobility. Motion is lotion, greasing the groove, whatever you want to call it. All of that stuff is just pure benefit. And so that's my take on it, man. That's 3. I'll do 2 more, and that'll be for the back day. Got a good pump on. Good call. I've got 2 kids and a pregnant wife. Bed rest was never on the cards, which I'm sure you know all about. Cheers, mate. Appreciate you, dude. You and I are very alike, man. You've got a 3rd one in the oven and 2 already. 3 kids. It's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well done. I love this machine, man. Beautiful. To get that much upper back work, lat work, and not have the lower back demolished, legendary. Legendary, man. All right. Whew. How many sets of back am I doing? 17. 17 working sets. 7 this way and 10 this way. If I was doing a barbell row, it would be 10. But I'm able to hit much more volume with this thing. The barbell row is just a different level. Way different. Do I have a current 1 rep goal for squat, dead, and bench, overhead? I answered before. I just started watching your snippets this week at work. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Ben. Appreciate it, man. I mean, the lifetime goals are, 300 squat, 180 bench, 300 deadlift. Right now I'm at 215 squat, 155 bench, and 285 deadlift. So that's the lifetime goals that I made some 12, 13 years ago without any knowledge of how difficult that is. I saw some fake natties, let's call them, and they looked kind of natural to me, and I thought, fuck, I'll be able to do that after 15, 20 years of training. But then as the years went on, I realized that's a very, very difficult goal to get. 300 at a high bar ETG without a belt, all that stuff. The squat is probably the most challenging for me after all these years, I've realized. The deadlift is probably a year away, I'd say, maybe more. I've got 15 kilos to go, so I hope I can get there. So that's definitely the most doable one. The bench 155, I reckon I've got 160 in me if I peak properly. So I think the bench is like, I don't know, 2-3 years away, something like that, if I'm lucky. The squat though, I don't know if that's gonna be possible, man. Like I've got my difficulties with the squat, even though I squat all the time and I studied the squat more than any other lift. I've devoted so much time to it, I just struggle with it. Before squat every day, during the squat every day, I've always struggled with it, which is kind of the reason why I fell in love to do it all the time, because I wanted to practice the movement and mobility every day with it, and then finish off with a practice squat motion. That's kind of where all of that was born out of. So yeah, I don't have like any immediate goals. I've kind of said to myself I want to push for 300 at the end of this year. But whether that's possible or not, I'm not sure, man. I don't know. I'd be happy if I hit 160 on the bench this year, 300 or even 290 this year on the deadlift, just 5 kilos more, and 220 on the squat. I'd be happy with that. But let's see what happens, man. That's how it is. Right. Woo. That was good. That was excellent. I've smashed the shit out of my back. 17 sets of back. Not a bad effort. Appreciate you, fellas. I think I'm going to call it here. That's all I got, man. I'm spent. Like always, appreciate you fellas for joining me in the workout, chilling with me, making it a bit more fun. You know, chatting with you guys is always cool. Feel like I'm working out with 20 other blokes. It's kind of cool. So I'll catch you probably 26 hours, I want to say I'll be here. In 26 hours. We will meet again, boys, in 26 hours, I reckon, after work and all the rest of it. I'll do another session tomorrow, as I always do. There's always tomorrow, baby. I'm already excited about tomorrow. Oh, beautiful sound. Yeah, I know. I love being here. Appreciate you, Josh, Pragmatic Duck, Miz, everyone that's been there. You guys know who you are. Always a pleasure. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.